Alright, welcome to my first ever tutorial on a model. I am doing a Syar'i bridal makeup look, so I'm not gonna trim her brows, not gonna put on false lashes on her. This is my take on a very minimal and natural looking bridal makeup on my model Kirana. And let me preface this tutorial by saying I'm not just gonna walk you through the step by step and tell you what I'm using for each step. I'm gonna walk you through what I'm doing on her, on Kirana, and why I'm doing it. Okay? I believe there's no tutorial that's gonna ever teach you makeup that's personalized to you because I'm just gonna show you what I do on her and what it works on her. If you wanna learn how to do this look and how to make this look work for you, I have a one-on-one online self-makeup program called Feature Focus where I teach you how to do your makeup without changing your features. So let's go. I have put on moisturizers and toners and lip balm on her, and I'm starting now with foundation. Again, she has a really even skin tone, barely any texture, so I'm approaching this thinking in my mind, how am I gonna make her feel? How am I gonna make her look in pictures? Thinking that she's actually getting married that day, even though she's a model. So that's how I approach makeup actually. Let me talk about that. I never have a look in mind whenever I'm doing my client's makeup or I'm doing my model's makeup or even when I'm doing my own makeup. I always like to sit down, look in the mirror and assess their features first, and then I came up with a look as I'm doing it. So with Kirana, I'm thinking, okay, she has a really nice skin and I'm not willing to cover it all up with foundation. So I'm building thin layers, right? I'm doing the exact shade match on her. And I want to make sure that the makeup doesn't sit on top of her skin, but rather it becomes one with her skin. So that's why I'm doing thin layers with the paintbrush and then I'm buffing it into the skin with the mini dense round brush. So since this is a bridal makeup, I want to make sure that this looks good both in person and in pictures. So how I'm doing it on her is I want to make sure that the dimension is visible. But okay, here's the thing. I want you to be able to tell that I'm putting on blush and bronzers and highlight and contours on Kirana, but I don't want you to be able to tell where the line starts and where it ends. Does it make sense? I want it to be blurred, but I want you to be able to tell that there's colors on her face, right? And the way I do that is by playing with the depth of the color. So I'm playing with the contrast here. And a lot of people I find that they get this part wrong. They're thinking that, okay, I want my blush to look really natural, so I'm just gonna put on a blush that barely shows up on my skin and I'm just gonna build it up. And you end up with layers of products on top of your skin and it makes your makeup look cakey. What I'm doing is actually the opposite. I'm putting a blush, bronzer, highlight, contour with the shades that are so much lighter or so much darker with her skin tone, like contrasting to her skin tone, so that I don't have to put layers upon layers upon layers on her skin, so that the makeup can actually literally be minimal, so that I don't have to use as much products. You see what I'm doing here? Because truthfully, when you look at her bare face, I don't need to put that much makeup on. Her skin's gorgeous. I just need to build dimension so that it shows up on picture. Gotta make sure that it lasts all day, all night because it's her wedding day. And gotta make sure that she feels comfortable wearing this look. She's gonna wear this for a whole day, right? So now I'm doing her under eyes. You probably noticed that I didn't put foundation. When I was putting on foundation on her, I didn't put it up to her lower lashes. Look at her smiling. See, as I'm doing this look, I was constantly checking the mirror. I was pulling away from the mirror. I was zooming in. I moved back. I zoomed in. I was constantly checking to see if I can tell that there's highlights and contours going on her face. But I also wanted to check, I was also constantly checking if I can tell where the lines start and end. You know what I mean? So, as I was saying, I was doing her under eyes and I left the area bare when I was putting my foundation on her, because some of you probably know that your skin underneath your eyes is slightly thinner than the rest of your face. So I don't want to cake up products under them. And this is what I'm talking about. So I'm putting on blush now. It looks scary when I first applied it on her, right? It looks like it's shocking pink. But I wanted that. I needed that. I needed that to be shocking pink so that I don't have to use a lot. So now I'm trying to blur it. I'm blending it into her skin. I'm making sure that it becomes one with her foundation, with her highlight, contour, and bronzer, so that you can tell that there's colors. Again, we don't want her to look washed out wearing white. We don't want her to look washed out in photos, but we also want to make sure that you can tell where the lines start and ends. That's a big thing for me. I hate when you can tell where the highlights or blush or contours start and end on your face. It's like you're wearing stripes on your face and it never looks natural. It doesn't look good. You don't actually blush naturally like that. Nobody blushed like that. So making sure that there's no lines. Again, I was constantly checking. This is what I'm doing. This is how I do makeup. Looking back at this footage, I'm thinking to myself, it was a genius idea for me to put on the hijab from the beginning so that I can see if my makeup or if the hijab makes my makeup look more dull or vice versa. Because that's, I think, the biggest thing for brides is that they worry that with white they're gonna look more dull, because I think that's you know what I hear most often from my bride to bees. But anyway, so we're moving on to eyes now. You can see on her left eyelid, your right side now, there's a crease line, right? Like my concealer wasn't setting. And that actually is my guide to map my eyeshadow. That is the line where when she open her eyes and look to the camera, there's the line where my shadow should stop. See? Because if I were to put eyeshadows past that line, it wouldn't show up on her eyes anyway. And since this makeup is very minimal, I'm not gonna put on lashes on her. I don't want to close her eyes shut. I still want there to be colors, I still want there to be depth, but I don't want it to be overwhelming. I just want to complement her eye shape. And I love her eye shape. She has a very almond shape, and this lid space is actually quite big for Indonesians, because we mostly have hooded eyes with barely any lid space. So I was grateful for this much lid space for my space to play with eyeshadows. But as you can see, I was focusing more on her lash line, and then I bring that up to that crease line. And then I did blend past that crease line, but just to make sure that, again, there's no harsh lines, because with minimal makeup you don't want any harsh lines. So, but I just want to make sure that that when she looks in the front, when she looks to the camera, you can see the shadows. All right, so I'm not just gonna put eyeshadows the way YouTubers do, where you put transition colors on the crease and then shimmer on the lid and then darker colors on the outer corner. No, I'm doing everything. I'm doing this with intention. As I was creating this look, I'm thinking, okay, I think she can handle a little boldness on her eyes because her lashes are so full, and it just complements her feature. She has a full brows as well, so I'm gonna put the focus on the look more on her eyes than her lips or her skin. So that's what I'm doing here. And I'm bringing the shadow closer to the inner corner to give the illusion that I'm contouring her nose, almost. Let's talk about that really quickly, actually. I hate nose contouring on Indonesian noses or Indonesian features. I just think it doesn't look natural. You know, the usual double lines on the side of your nose, you know, that 11 figure contouring thing. It never looks natural, and it's not necessary either. As you can see, I'm not even touching her nose whatsoever. All I did was just put on foundation that matches her skin, and then I bring the eyeshadow closer to her inner corner to bring shadows to like pinch her nose almost. And that's about it. Because if you shade match correctly, if your foundation matches your skin correctly, your nose should stand out on its own. Because the rest of the area, the rest of your face is flat, right? Like your under eyes, your cheeks, your chin, they're flat, and the only texture, the only bumpy, the only structure you have on your face is your nose. So if you were to put on the right color of foundation on your skin tone, it would automatically stand out because there's natural shadows within your nose. Am I making sense? You let me know in the comments. So let's move on. I'm already setting my face here. I'm catching up with the steps that I'm doing. But if you can tell already, since I was putting on that foundation, I left it to do my concealer, my correctors, my blush, my eyeshadow. I leave it to set. I left it to set. I left it to air dry. And that's intentional because we're doing a bridal makeup and we want this to last all day, all night with minimal touch-ups, right? And the foundation that I'm putting on her was a matte full coverage foundation, which means I'm not required to put on hefty amount of powder, as that will ruin the look. It will make it look cakey. So you can see that I was just setting with a small brush with barely any powder, because a good matte full coverage foundation should be self-setting in its way. And by doing that, I was checking to see if it oxidizes, how it oxidizes, so that I can fix it as I'm doing it. So I'm hitting two birds with one stone. You know, I'm not doing things double. Am I making sense? Hopefully I'm making sense so far. So back to creating bridal makeup look that looks good in pictures and in person, and making sure that it lasts all day all night. Part of that is playing with the depth of the colors, and part of that is also layering cream and powder products. So whatever cream or liquid products that you put on your face, you want to make sure you set with the same color in a powder form of products. So like what I'm doing here. Now we are moving on to eyes, the most exciting part. This is gonna be the focus on the look. I did her lashes on her right eyes already, and I'm gonna show you how I do it and why I do it in her left eye. So since we're not putting on any falsies on her, I want to make sure that her lashes are long, they're curly, and they're voluminous. So I curled her lashes really tightly, and I put on mascara from the root to give the illusion that I put a pencil liner underneath her lash without actually putting on pencil liner. Wanted to keep this look minimal, so I don't want it to look smoky, so that's what I'm doing. And then I'm being really careful here because I've already put on mascara, but I just wanted to reinforce the curl, because sometimes putting on a waterproof mascara can weigh down your lashes and it makes it look straight again. So when that happens, don't panic, just keep curling back. Just make sure you be really careful when doing that. So I'm coming back with my lashes, checking with her constantly, and what I'm doing here again is just really reinforcing the curl, because you can see, because you should be able to tell or see the curl before you put on any mascara, and we don't want any clumps in our lashes, so that's why I'm coming in with the lash comb. So that's pretty much it on her eyes. Here I'm just back combing her brows. I talk about this in depth in my 10-minute practical minimal makeup tutorial, so you can watch that if you haven't. But see how I kept the space in between her brows and her lashes? See how, or her lid? See how I maintain the space there? I want that, okay? If I were to put eyeshadow past her crease line, it would have closed her eyes and make it look really bold and like really sunken in, and that will not look flattering on her. And this is the skill, okay? This is a skill to be able to read your features and work with it so that your makeup makes you look and feel better and not worse. Because sometimes I find people trying so hard to look pangling and so hard to change their features, they end up looking and feeling worse than before they put on makeup. And you don't want that. We don't want that. So now I'm just doing hair-like strokes on her brow. I'm maintaining the shape, the natural shape, the natural untrimmed shape of her brows. With that, I'm just keep brushing. I didn't really put anything, just mascara and some brow pen. See? So now we're coming to the end of the tutorial and I'm doing her lips. I like to do the lips last because I feel like that's what's gonna tie the look together. And I'm reassessing this look and I'm thinking to myself, okay, this turned out to be like a warm toned look on Kirana, and I'm thinking, okay, what nude color would tie this look together in a flattering way? So as I was putting on the first color, I realized it looked too coral-ish to me, almost too yellow, too orange, and I went with the blue pigment to tone it down. This is a concept of color theory. You will learn this in depth with me when you work with me one-on-one inside Feature Focus, where you learn which colors will work for your skin tone, how to neutralize colors, how to manipulate colors. And so now I'm loving the tone. It's getting warm, the right kind of warm, right? But it looks too brown. It looks too heavy, right? So her eyes are already heavy because her lashes are full and voluminous, and I want to keep the boldness or the focus of the look on her eyes. So I wanted to do like a light nude on her, and I lighten it up with yellow pigment instead of white, because if I were to use white, this would turn it into a chocolate milk color. It would wash out the warmth that I put on the first color with the coral. See, this is what I was looking for. So now I'm finishing up with a clear gloss so I don't change the tone and color of her lipstick. And this is pretty much it. This is the finished look. She looks gorgeous. I don't change her features at all, but yet she looked pangling, right? And this is what you can learn when you work with me one-on-one inside my online self-makeup program, Feature Focus. I'm gonna list all the info below on the description, and I hope you enjoy watching this video. And I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.